that all good things must end.
Or start in a case of a Monday edition of the Press Pros Huddle Show. I'm Bruce Hooley, Sonny Folks alongside from his palatial Miami County estate. Different background tonight as the editor-in-chief of Press Pros Magazine joins us, accompanied as always by Willie Nelson, who starts the show. We turn out the lights, the party's over. The Ohio State party is over for Garrett Burhen and Seth Lonsway, two Buckeye baseball pitchers today, drafted in the Major League Baseball draft. We will talk about that. Good evening, Mr. Folks. We hope to be joined soon by Mr. Lonsway, who's a sixth-round pick of the San Francisco Giants. And in honor, you are sporting San Francisco Giants gear tonight.
I got some gear on. When Lons gets here, he'll be. It'll give him a warm feeling. I'll leave it at that.
Yes, the SF can also stand, of course, for Sunny Folks, and so no surprise that you have that in your closet. We want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank our sponsors for supporting us. You can ask a question on Twitter or on Facebook. You can always type us a message on Facebook, question, and we will get to that in the course of the show. But what would you like to start with tonight? You have some Reader Speaks comments. We should give you the news of the day. Ohio State basketball team has added a sharpshooting guard from the Ragin' Cajuns of Southwest Louisiana. His name is Cedric Russell. He's a three-point shooter. He takes the spot vacated by Dwayne Washington's departure for the NBA draft. I don't expect him to be as good as Dwayne, but maybe his offseason training will make him a better defensive player. I wonder how Justin Arns thinks about that. I wonder what Jimmy Sotos thinks about that, because those were the two guys who were most likely to benefit from Dwayne Washington's absence.
Well, it's college basketball. It's college sports. The one thing that was the most rudest awakening for me 50 years ago was I thought I was a pretty good pitcher and doing a pretty good job, and they just kept bringing guys in that they thought were better than me. So that's part of it. And, that's why I tell people all the time, parents all the time, they say, well, I want my son wants to play college baseball, wants to play college basketball, wants to play college sports. Careful what you wish for. It is not as simple as showing up on Saturdays wearing the school colors with your pom-poms and sitting there and tapping your foot to the band. It just doesn't work that way a lot of times. And, I'll tell you the other thing that you don't do, and I think you and I had this discussion before. When you get there, there's no such thing as knocking on a coach's door and saying, can I talk to you about playing time? And can I talk to you about why Randy's not getting a better shot and how come you're not giving him a chance? None of that stuff works. You don't call coaches. You have no say in the matter if you're a parent. And it's just part of the culture of competition, because those games mean a lot more than they do in high school. The coach's career is tied to winning. And, you can say whatever you want to about attitudes about winning in high school, that people make too big a deal out of it, that there's too much preoccupation with it. There's not enough handshaking lines and hugging after the game and stuff like that. There's none of that in college. If you don't win, you're fired. And right. That's why you don't get to go down and complain to coaches, because what they care about, number one, is careers and winning and getting that team to the NCAA tournament. Because typically, if you don't get there, you don't get a raise. And it's just like you going to work on Monday morning. You got to do a better job every week to go back the next week.
Well, Cedric Russell's an experienced player. He's played a lot in the Ragin' Cajuns lineup. He's scored in the mid-20s in some games. We'll see where he fits in. I can tell you this, he's not going to play if he can't play defense. So his defensive rating was not as good as Dwayne Washington's, but probably the players around him weren't as good as the players around Dwayne Washington. And help side defense being what it is in the Big Ten, that certainly factors into a player's individual defensive rating. The best news is that E.J. Liddell has decided to come back to Ohio State, so they have a full complement. They're very experienced, and we'll see. I think a lot of it's going to depend not on the transfers like Joey Brunk or Jamari Wheeler or Cedric Russell, it's going to depend on the young guys like Michi Johnson and Malachi Branham. If those guys have big years for Ohio State, then in tandem with E.J. Liddell and Justice Suing, some of the other guys they have coming back who were good players last year, they can be pretty good. I think Dwayne Washington made the wrong move to stay in the NBA draft. I don't think he'll get drafted, but we'll soon be talking to Seth Lonsway, who got drafted today by the Giants. And that's one of the biggest days that a young man can have in their career is when they, I'll say, recognize their dream of being a professional athlete. Seth Lonsway is going to get paid a signing bonus. He's going to head off to rookie league or A-ball or someplace like that with the San Francisco Giants. I get the dream. I understand Dwayne Washington's desire to be paid to play basketball. I just think he would have been better served by coming back to school. Seth Lonsway is 22 years old, and he has flashed at Ohio State, and a 6th-round pick by the San Francisco Giants. I mean, they're getting a guy who some scouts think has one of the best curveballs in college baseball, and he has no trouble striking guys out. And with that arm and a left-hander that he is, there are a lot of guys who last an awful long time in Major League Baseball if they can come out of the bullpen as a left-hander and strike somebody out.
Let me share something with you. It's a disappointment for guys like Seth Lonsway and Garrett Burhan if you only get picked in the 6th or the 9th round, because the real money is in the 1st round. Those guys, those 1st-round picks, some of those guys are going to get $2 million just for a signing bonus. If you go in the 2nd round, some of those are 7-figure bonuses too, depending on the player and the position. The very worst you're going to do, according to the slot money I saw this afternoon on Draft Tracker, in the 2nd round is the high 6 figures. But when you get beyond that 3rd and 4th round, precipitously, that number drops. So, that's a disappointing thing. The realization is I'm going to sign and I'm going to be set for life. My family's going to be set for life. And if you're one of those lucky 30 in the front round, yeah, that's true. But let me share this with you. The big leagues are full of starting pitchers drafted in the 6th round or later. Let me give you a pretty good example. He's starting the All-Star game tomorrow night. Max Scherzer in 2000, I think 3, 4, something like that, was the 43rd round draft choice, 43rd of the St. Louis Cardinals. Mm-hmm. Now he's 36 years old. Where is he today? 8 straight All-Star games. Cy Young's till he has no space to put him.
Right.
And I think he got paid. I think he's been paid.
Yeah, World Series champion. And, he and Steven Strasburg couldn't have 2 more different resumes in how they got to Major League Baseball. But exactly. They look pretty similar. Strasburg, of course, being the number 1 overall pick years ago out of San Diego State. So congratulations to all those young men. And we'll have Seth Lonsway here with us shortly. Really good feature on the site at PressProsMagazine.com on Seth Whiting, the new football coach at Minster. He takes the place of Garen Stokes. We had Garen on our show with us 2 weeks ago in our last Monday huddle. Seth Whiting, an interesting guy, Sonny, coming from Alliance High School down to Minster, and he inherits a really good program that Garen Stokes left behind.
Yeah, he's interesting for a number of reasons. He's old school, which I like, you like. I mean, I like some guy that says, hey, we're going to have some standards here. I know kids want to play the way they want to play in this day and age. But he said, somebody came here and did a pretty good job putting a foundation under this house. And we're not going to tear it down just because somebody wants to throw the ball recklessly around the field. We're going to do the right things to make sure, again, we're successful. We're maintaining a culture of football here. And then we win. The idea is to go out there on Friday night. And why else would you go out and get beat, banged up if you don't go out there to win? So I like that part of him. The part that I had kind of forgotten was his dad, Vic, was the author of the first 39 or 40 wins at Delphi St. John's back in the, I think, 96 through 99, he told me, when they set the state record for 57 consecutive wins in high school. Now, that's not just league wins like Covington did back in the early 2000s when they won 44 straight games in the cross-county conference. That's 57 consecutive league wins, playoff wins, state championship game wins. And Vic Whiting won 39 of those plus 3 state titles at Adelphi St. John. That was pretty neat, to sit there and think back and that era of football in the MAC, because that's right after the Hetrick era. or right during the Al Hetrick era. The Tim Beckman, our own Tim Beckman, who had 4 state titles back then. John Reed was at Coldwater. Of course, Chip Otten, his days came after that. But, that legacy of coaches from that league goes that far back. And Vic Whiting was right there in the middle of it.
Yep. Fantastic. Well, with that, let's welcome our guest tonight. He is the 6th-round pick of the San Francisco Giants, a guy who's won a lot of games for the Ohio State Buckeyes over the years, and a guy who certainly knows how to strike out batters, and that skill will come in handy big time in his minor league career and as he moves up the ladder toward Major League Baseball. Seth Lonsway. Seth, thanks for joining us. Congratulations. It's a big day in your life getting drafted by the Giants.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I apologize for the late arrival and the interview being over the phone. Like I said, I texted Sonny. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're running late." We went out to dinner real quick to a little celebratory dinner, but yeah, good to be talking to you guys.
Hey, I want you to notice I got dressed for you.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I went deep in the drawer for that.
That's an old one you dug out for me.
It's a great day for you and a happy day and for you and your family. And as we were just talking about, I want you to share a little bit your story. The feature that we talked about earlier today is up on Press Pros right now. But what that had to be like, because it's a pretty well-known story now. You came back this year, you bet on yourself. You were going to have that season that was irresistible to the Major League Scouts, and you bet on yourself to come away the big winner yesterday. It didn't happen. And what that was like to sit there and watch one after another that weren't you.
Yeah, it's definitely tough going, and we talked about it over the phone, going through this process again. Going through it last year with the 5 rounds, it got a little agonizing, sitting there and hearing name after name rattled off. And, like you said, you get very eager and anxious and excited about the opportunity. And, it's definitely not easy, sitting there, seeing maybe some guys, and just, a bunch of guys coming off the board, in the draft. But, going back to Ohio State, betting on myself, it paid off, and I'm very thankful and blessed for the opportunity with the Giants.
There's another thing about your example that I think is very important that people understand, and particularly baseball players, young baseball players understand. As I said to you earlier today, you had some incredible highs this year. That game you had against Indiana, I don't think anybody in college baseball had a better game this year. 2-hit shutout and strike out 17 of 21 hitters. And, unfortunately, as I characterize it in the story, your year was like one step like that forward and a week later maybe a step backwards for one reason or another. And the point of it is you kept competing. You kept playing. And you have to do that. You can't get discouraged. You can't get down. As you said today, you're going to have some awesome starts. You're going to have some that aren't so awesome, but you got to keep playing.
Right. Absolutely. It's just that you got to maintain that kind of consistent mentality throughout the season. You from start to start, you get a new opportunity each weekend to, go out there and put your best stuff on the field. So, it was definitely very exciting and fun to have those, amazing highs and those awesome games this season. But, the consistency, sometimes I wish would have been better at times, but, that's just how it goes. So, I'm glad I, got through the season and I had a lot of fun with my teammates at Ohio State. And, like you said, just going through some of those, those games like Indiana you mentioned was a blast. So.
Seth, have the Giants given you any indication as to where you might be assigned and what role they envision for you? I mean, you clearly have an ability to strike guys out. You're left-handed. That's a valuable skill to have, really, either as a starting pitcher or as a reliever. So you've got a lot of versatility that you offer the organization. What have your conversations been with about them in terms of how they envision you?
So our conversations have not been that detailed yet. We kind of just were over the phone, just kind of congratulating me and, excited for me to, be in the organization. We haven't really established any of that stuff yet. These last couple of hours, that'll probably be something, that'll be discussed, I'm sure, here in the next, couple of days. Just still kind of waiting on things to kind of settle down and, for terms to get, agreed upon and all that stuff. So, yeah, we're just gonna, wait these next couple of days and kind of take in the information as it comes. So,
You said something to me today about first round money is I don't know how you even describe that to somebody. For a 17, 18-year-old high school kid to come out and get $2 million to sign, like that. And certainly it falls precipitously as you go through the different rounds, and 6th-round money is nowhere near what first-round money is. But I do want to remind you this, and we talked about this before you came on. Max Scherzer. I think you know something about Max Scherzer.
Oh, yeah.
Drafted in the 43rd round.
Yep.
The 43rd round, Seth Lonsway. There's hope for you. There's hope for you.
And then he's an all-star. He's going to be pitching tomorrow night. Yeah.
Starting.
That's the thing about it. There's talent in every round of the draft. You can never, that's what was tough about last year's draft. Not only myself, but there was a lot of guys that didn't get a chance and get an opportunity because of the 5 rounds last year. It's like there was still a lot of talent out there that can make it. So, it's just you gotta bet on yourself, and you just gotta add fuel to the fire. I'm a guy that loves to kind of feed off of that. I like when people bet against me, and I like when somebody doubts me. I really love that.
Well, Seth, now it's not about where you got drafted. It's not about whatever signing bonus you signed. It's results on the field, and
right.
Your skills, your ability, the things you've shown that you can do when you're on. You don't have to, be looking over your shoulder at anybody. I mean, you offer an awful lot that an organization is going to love as a pitcher. And I would think now that, the formalities are out of the way or almost out of the way. Now it's where you want to be, which is just from here on out, it's pure baseball. Judge me on my results.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to, get to work, obviously put in the, the work in the off season and go out there and show, the organization that, I deserve to be at the highest level, in their organization, and just go out there and put up results.
Did you have a chance to talk to Garrett today?
I texted him a little bit. Yeah, we're kind of texting back and forth. Super stoked for him. I'm just super stoked for him. I'm excited. Hopefully he can catch up with Dylan and get together back with him and have that 1-2 combo. So super excited for him.
And the reality is too, you got some other guys sitting there right behind, like DeCenzo. I think it's a foregone conclusion that Zach's going to get an opportunity out of this draft sometime tomorrow. TJ Brock, certainly another one that showed that he's a player. Again, the importance of going out every day. You hit the field or touch that pitching rubber, that you go out there and perform and do your best.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially, looking at our season with, not having the midweek games for the Big Ten Conference. Those relievers, those middle relievers, maybe got a little less opportunity at, maybe throwing in like a midweek game and then throwing on the weekend like, we would normally have. So, for those guys to, only get a few opportunities, like each one mattered a lot. So for them, it's crucial when they get on the mound that, they put up their best stuff. So,
Seth, you obviously couldn't have seen the pandemic coming. That, really was a rotten break for you and every other college athlete that was a spring sport athlete in particular that didn't get a season. So your time at Ohio State was affected through no fault of your own or any of your teammates' faults. As you look back on your years as a Buckeye, you could be 3 years into your career as a Cincinnati Red right now, had you signed out of high school. But you also gain a lot. You gain relationships. You gain that much closer proximity to a degree in the experiences that you had. So weigh all that for me and give me the balance of how you look at it now after that time period is behind you.
Yeah, that's, looking back on that, that opportunity, that chance that I had with, with the Reds 3 years ago, it's kind of crazy to think about how far I've come. What I've worked on and what I've gotten better at. So it's definitely kind of crazy to think, I could be essentially 3 years into my pro career if I would have taken that opportunity, back then. But I'm very thankful that, I went to Ohio State and developed and got to work with my, awesome coaches there. And they really pushed me and, gave me my best chance at, proving that to, all the teams, the pro teams that, I am better than I was then. So, it's kind of crazy to look back and think about that, that coming out of high school. So,
take a minute and give a PSA for Ohio State baseball because, you've had an opportunity in 3 years to play in some of the best facilities, some of the best competition against some of the best coaches. You recognize that now when you see it instantly like that.
Yeah.
It's very hard as an old Buckeye myself to go over there now and look at Bill Davis Stadium and say, how could it be any better than this if you want to play Division I college baseball? Am I right?
Right. Yeah, no, it's grown so much just in my 4 years that I've been there. Just the facilities, the equipment, just the ways we develop guys, and the approach we take with each individual is second to none. It's definitely a place you want to be if you're trying to move up and get to the next level. I really appreciate Dan and Goldie there at Ohio State, giving me all the resources and all the opportunities, and they were super open-minded with me and were able to, have the good conversations and the tough conversations at times when, things were going good or things were going bad for me. So, I'm very thankful for them, and, I wouldn't be, as good as I am or where I am now, without having my, years there. So.
Well, Seth, I think too, in 3 years as a college pitcher, you've gone through adversity, and maybe you're better equipped now, more mature, and able to handle those kinds of things. Had you encountered that hundreds of miles from home as a prospect straight out of high school, that's a little tougher to deal with. But when you're in Columbus and Salina is a couple hours away, you got a support system. I hope you look back on the experience as a good experience, and you certainly gave Ohio State fans a lot of thrills in your career. You definitely got the ability to make it to the major leagues, and Sonny and I will be rooting for you all the way, and look forward to having you on after you make your major league debut.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Before you get away, I will. I know you're outside, but can you see my friend Phil back here?
Oh, I see him. Oh yeah. I love it. Oh yeah. We'll
never leave home. Never leave home without a pheasant.
Yeah, we'll have to get together, get us some of those.
I promise you we will. Okay. Hey, congratulations to you. My sincerest best wishes, as Bruce said, to go out there and knock them dead, and remember to have some fun doing it too, because there's nothing more fun than playing baseball.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
Enjoy your dinner tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, there you go, Seth Lonsway. Great young man. And, boy, I tell you what, if they can fine-tune the talent that he has, Sonny, the San Francisco Giants have really gotten a steal, because you don't have to teach him an out pitch. He's got two of them right now.
No,
his fastball and his curveball are major league ready. It's just a matter of consistency.
For those people who haven't read the article yet that we posted this afternoon, there was an Atlanta scout in Nashville last year when they were there to play Lipscomb University. And he struck out like 14 that day, and just about all of them on the curveball. And the guy sat there standing right there on the fence. And I said, "You like that?" He said, "That curveball would play in the big leagues right now." He said, "Just too many pitches. Got to be more efficient." But he says that curveball plays in the big leagues right now. And all he's got to do,
they'll teach him how to spot that fastball and set that curveball up. And
and whoever taught Koufax, because Koufax threw the ball murderously hard, couldn't hit the screen with it. But miraculously, from 1961 to 1962, somebody said, take a little bit off that fastball, throw that curveball more, and suddenly the rest is history. So that can easily happen for Seth Lonsway, and I hope it does.
Yep, absolutely right. We have a Facebook note. Not sure I know exactly what it talks about, what it's meaning, but It must be Seth Lonsway's dad, or
Yeah, it is. That would be Donovan Lonsway.
they sell our kind of beer in San Fran. I would imagine. I don't know that there's any place they don't sell Sonny's kind of beer.
I think they sell everybody's kind of beer in San Francisco. I would be shocked if they didn't.
And Pooh Bear 5675 says, "Good luck, Seth." So, Seth obviously is a guy that a lot of people have grown to love in his 3 years at Ohio State, not just because of the kind of pitcher he is, but because of the kind of young man that he is.
If I was pitching for the Giants, I would have a real struggle in that ballpark out there, because I don't know if you've ever been there, but the food is out of this world. I would be in a concession stand between innings. There's too much temptation there. Great ballpark, beautiful place.
Well, according to Wikipedia, your San Francisco Giants affiliates, Augusta, Georgia would be a Class A affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
Class A short season, that might be where he's headed, or to the rookie league. Would be obviously the rookie league would be in Arizona, and the Salem Kaiser, Oregon Volcanoes. So it looks like maybe Seth would be headed to Augusta, Georgia, to play for. What do you think the nickname is of the Augusta, Georgia, San Francisco Giants Class A baseball team, Sonny?
The Augusta, Georgia. What do you think? Are you thinking?
Well, I'm looking at it, so I can tell you what it is.
I would say the Bogies, the Birdies, the Bogies, the
you're
Eagles.
On the right track. It's the Augusta Green Jackets.
The Green Jackets, okay.
And
all right.
The Class A advanced team is in San Jose. They are also the Giants. The AA team, the Richmond, I suppose that's in Virginia. Yeah, Richmond, Virginia Flying Squirrels. And the AAA affiliate, as it often is located pretty close to the major league club, the Sacramento River Cats. So we'll look forward to seeing Seth Lonsway in maybe starting out in Augusta, then to San Jose, then back to Virginia, and then to Sacramento. And hopefully he makes a quick trip up the minor league ladder and is pitching in San Francisco very, very soon.
I was wrong. We spoke this afternoon, and I thought that they still had a team in the Midwest League, because I think a few years ago they had a team in Burlington, Iowa. Mm-hmm. So obviously they've moved that out there. So you're not going to go to the Dayton Dragons ballpark and see Seth Lonsway anytime soon. But anyway, what a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. Garrett Burhan. You tell me which one of those young men, give me the strengths and weaknesses, what each one of them has to improve on, and what you foresee ahead of them in terms of a Seth Lonsway, 6th round of the Giants, Garrett Burhan, 9th round of the Tigers.
I think obviously what Seth really has to do is get some consistency. I think he's got to be, and I've always been a guy that believes if you got a curveball like that and you can throw it for strike one and strike two, it doesn't matter if you throw another strike, and in the at bat, you can throw a fastball over their head or in the dirt and they're going to swing at it and miss. So his is just command of the strike zone, and particularly the fastball. Be able to get strike one and strike two and pitch from ahead, because that statistic, if you throw strike one, you get the hitter out 60% of the time. If you're ahead strike two or 1-2, that figure jumps to about 80-85%. So what he really has to do, as you say, he doesn't have to develop an out pitch. He has that. He just has to throw strikes. Garrett Burhan has a massive slider. Doesn't throw first round hard, but he went from 91, 92 to a consistent 93, 94, 95. I think somebody said he hit 96 this year. Lost some weight, got into better shape, really made his junior year, like they say on the PGA Tour, moving day for him in terms of the draft. He's got that great slider. He's an uber competitive guy. He's going to fight. I've seen him, have some bad first, second innings. He doesn't bother him. He goes out there in the third inning and keeps fighting, keeps throwing strikes, tries to find the adjustments until gives his team a chance to get back in the game and compete. So I think that's his biggest attribute. At the next level, the thing he'll have to, I think, probably work on is to refine that breaking pitch or refine the fastball or something to get, as you say, a better put away pitch, out pitch. When you get 2-2 in the count, this pitch is the one you're going out on, and that's an important adjustment that you have to make at the next level of baseball. You can get by with it in high school, a little less in college, but at that level, you got to have a put away pitch when you get to the professional ranks.
You ran the Reader Speaks column today on PressProsMagazine.com. It has since been usurped by the Lonsway and Garrett Burhen story, but it's still on the site for people to read.
We had some doozies.
You got kudos on your Ted Peacock story. The normal amount of snark directed toward the governor and sometimes toward you and I. So anything else stand out at you from the Reader Speaks column today?
You know, I thought that the guy who let me go back and look at this. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Mike Masters wrote to us. I don't know Mike, don't even know where he's from at this point, but he wrote, about athletes, and you and I have made a living off interviewing and writing athletes about athletes. And he said, whether they talk or not doesn't change my life. They're there to entertain. They're entertainers. And when did it become necessary for reporters like you and me to chisel their words in stone? I've been a Sinatra fan all my life. I don't ever remember anyone asking him about the high note he hit in the second verse. And all I'm going to say is, well put, Mike. I wish I'd have thought of that myself, because it is. Look, I said this to a coach the other day. Your right to exist supersedes our right to know a lot of times. And I do realize the frustration of coaches and athletes sometimes that just hear it so often they've heard it enough. I think there is maybe more of a compulsion of people out there who read and listen to SportsCenter at night who maybe just have too big an obsession of knowing more than they need to know about the game itself. So, Mike, I appreciate that. That was a very fine letter. Sorry for the edits. We took some of it out, but great job on that, and a great point that you made. Got time for one more?
Yeah, if you want to refer to one more, I was looking here because I believe our St. Henry Acme League team won their state championship today. I saw a tweet about that, and I'm trying to find it to congratulate them, but I'm pretty sure I didn't make that one up. So good luck.
That's the one that I wanted to mention, because John Bozart wrote to us and said, in a recent article, you mentioned that Acme Baseball crept in after the decline of American Legion Baseball. That's not true, John wrote. Acme Baseball was founded by the Acme Baseball Congress in 1960 by a group of men seeking to provide local summer opportunity for high school players. You might also be interested to know that a central guy in the founding of Acme Baseball was named Lou Brunswick, one of the founders. And of course, Lou Brunswick is from Coldwater, Ohio. Hall of Fame coach, won 5 state titles up there with the Cavaliers. So Lou Brunswick, 92 or 3 years young. I appreciate that, John. I did not know that. And shame on me for not doing a little bit better research. But that's where Acme Baseball came from. And when I played in high school here, we played VFW ball, and I mistakenly thought it was Acme, but because the local VFW post in Piqua sponsored it and supported it, I thought it was just VFW baseball, but it was actually Acme Baseball, sponsored by the Veterans of Foreign War post here in Piqua. So,
well, I did not know that about Acme Baseball either, because back in my high school years, it seemed to me that it did come about the same time that American Legion Baseball went away, or as an alternative to American Legion Baseball, which in my area in Logan County, they'd have a Legion team that was heavy on kids from Bell Fountain, maybe a few kids from around surrounding high schools, but then typically the surrounding high schools then did what, is pretty common now, which is the high schools fielded their own Acme teams. And there was a lot of, cross-pollination, so we say, in those Acme teams as there is today. But congratulations to St. Henry on advancing, and we wish them well as they go forward. Before we get on out of here and turn you loose to watch Home Run Derby, I got to know, will you watch Home Run Derby?
Probably not.
Okay. First
of all, if you're an ex-pitcher, it's a little painful. The second thing about it is it doesn't seem, everybody I think who's a baseball fan has watched the original Home Run Derby show back from the 60s when they actually had a guy standing 60 feet 6 inches away and pitching to Wally Post and Harmon Killebrew and Mickey Mantle and guys like that.
Yep.
So I grew up watching those. It was just a different format, and the way they do it now, and Chris Berman going back. It doesn't entertain me, but I know a lot of people really get a big yank off of that, and so good for them.
How about the All-Star game? Was that must-see TV for you?
It's not must-see TV for me again because look, baseball and all the sports have gotten so political anymore. We used to watch things like that to get away from the stresses of everyday life. Now you can't watch that without being baptized in more stress and more political talk about the issues of the day. Everybody has a platform. I'd like to get away from a few platforms. I'd just like to watch the game and be entertained. I'd like to hear Sinatra hit the high note in the second verse. That's all I need.
Very good. Well said.
You?
No, I mean, I might turn it on just for a thing or, a minor diversion, but the discouraging thing for me will be the number of players I don't know.
That's true.
Because I was pulling in my driveway the other night and I heard Tom Hamilton, my friend Tom Hamilton. We'll have to get Hammy on the show sometime in the off season. Indians announcer Tom Hamilton.
Good guy.
Talking about Salvador Perez, the catcher for the Kansas City Royals. Now, I've detached from Indians baseball over the last few years since they, didn't win the World Series in 2016. And I kind of fell out of my connection. I lost my ability to get them on TV, so I don't watch them every night. And he was talking about Salvador Perez's number of All-Star game appearances and some other accomplishment of Salvador Perez. And he said and I got in late where I didn't know who he was talking about. He was reciting the accomplishments. This guy's been in X number of All-Star games, and he's been in this, and he's hit this, and he's batted in this, and la, la, la. And he's the only catcher to do that since Johnny Bench. And I'm thinking, who the heck is he talking about? And then he said, Salvador Perez. And I'm like, I don't even know Salvador Perez. How could anybody be as good as Johnny Bench? And I would not know him as often as I've been engaged in sports radio. But then I did sort of jog my memory and remember Salvador Perez. But as Hammy said, it's been a lot of years since Johnny Bench played, and there's still never been a catcher as good as Johnny Bench. And he's absolutely right on that.
Well, there have been a lot of catchers. I would sort of disagree a little bit. There have been a lot of catchers.
Who's as good as Johnny Bench? Pudge Rodriguez? Who?
Rodriguez was very good. Ivan Rodriguez was very good. Pudge Rodriguez was very good. There have been a lot of good catchers around. They never played for the Big Red Machine. What a tremendous advantage that was for Johnny Bench. And the other thing was, as they were playing, and because of Rose and Foster and Griffey and Perez and all those Morgan and all those guys around him, he got uber publicity. Deserved. But
he got a lot of publicity before the Big Red Machine ever happened, too.
I'm just saying, if you put Johnny Bench on the Seattle Mariners or the Seattle Pilots back then, we might not be having this discussion about Johnny Bench. So
maybe
being
not.
in the right
I'll
place.
tell you another thing. Without the spot on his lung after the 72 season, 79, maybe 1970 season, the numbers he put up would have been even better, because I think that took a lot out of him.
Well, maybe that may well be, but I'm just saying there have been from the years that I worked minor league baseball. I can tell you there were a lot of great catchers that came along that threw hard, threw like bench. Maybe didn't hit like bench, but they had, there were a lot of good guys that never got this far as bench because of their own doing. But a lot of good players out there. It's amazing for every guy that gets to the big leagues. I swear, there's 2 or 3 just as good that you never hear about.
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction. As we end this show, I'm going to make a prediction for next week's show. Next week in the Reader Speaks, we will have somebody who will be taking you to task for denying that Johnny Bench is the best catcher in Major League Baseball history since he played. Do you want to go pre-Johnny Bench? You want to go Yogi Berra, Bill Dickey, somebody like that, Maury Campanella? I'll listen to you. But since Johnny Bench, there's never been anybody as good as Johnny Bench. Not that knucklehead that plays for the Cardinals, one of how many different brothers that played, Yadier Molina. Yadier Molina, not Pudge Rodriguez, not anybody. And somebody will have my back on that in a letter to the Reader Speaks next week. Well, if I have to make one myself.
It's fine. It would be senseless for me to come up with some names that nobody ever heard of. But I'm telling you, in AA and AAA baseball, you see some fantastic talents that, for one reason or another, you come in the next day, go to the ballpark. Where are they? Well, they disappeared.
But that's my point. Is they've not given you the results that Johnny Bench gave you at the major league level.
They didn't have the career that Johnny Bench did at the major league level. And again, I can't say enough about how important it was to play in Cincinnati at that time with Rose, Morgan, and Griffey and Foster and all those guys. Perez.
Very good. Well, we want to thank our sponsors, which are numerous. You've seen them on the crawl during the show. We certainly want to thank Seth Lonsway for appearing with us. We want to congratulate Seth and Garrett Burhan for having their dream recognized of becoming Major League Baseball players. We will be back again next week with another edition of the Press Pros Monday Huddle, in which we are hoping to have Justin Arns for Sales Tiger and Ohio State Buckeye. So the invitation is out to Justin. And if those of you who know Justin or can text Justin would say, Justin, why don't you come on to Press Pros Monday Huddle? That'd be good too. So we're not averse to having a little hometown pressure applied to.
He's a good talker. He's a good talker.
Yes, he is. So
sure is.
Let's hope that fits with Justin's schedule. Until then, everybody have a great rest of the night, great rest of the week, and keep watching this show. If you're watching it on the replay, thank you. Keep logging in every day to PressProsMagazine.com as we refresh the site with the narrative writing and the outstanding feature photography you love. With that, good night, Truman.
Good night, Truman. Get to bed.
Get to bed.